Hello and welcome to a Fist of Heavens or FOHD because of the Paladin FOHD. Fist of Heavens build guide, and this is a budget guide because my stuff's not so good, but it doesn't matter. Fist of Heaven slaps. So let's start. I'll start with the skill tree. I did put a point in each of these just so I could get to meditation, because as you're leveling up, it takes a while before you get an insight on your mercenary. So I've got a Act 1 mercenary, so I chucked an insight on her eventually. So that just took a little while. So I just had meditation so I could increase the mana recovery rate, because again, Fist of the Heavens is very mana obsessed, so 25 per shot. You have to get every skill on the left hand side, and I grabbed the Holy Shield just for extra defense and blocking. So you start getting Holy Bolts. Well, of course you get Sacrifice. You get heaps of Holy Bolts, and Holy Bolts are really good now because they affect demons and undead. So before it was just undead, and they're just very good. So now I do good. They also heal. So they provide Holy Bolt damage. Now, one of the things you can do is you can not worry about Holy Bolt as much. So as you start off, you get Might, you get Holy Fire, you get Holy Freeze, and you get Holy Shock, because you need to get Holy Shock, because it gives a bonus of 7% lightning damage per level for your lightning damage. So it's kind of you can choose if you want to focus more on the lightning damage, or you want to just not worry about normal enemies as much. Maybe you've got a decent weapon and you're going to hit them with your Zeal. So you can do the demons and the undead, the Holy Bolt. You can just max the Holy Bolt out. So mine is it's only at 15. So I've still got room to grow in this build. Fist of Heavens is at 26. Does 1950 to 2049 lightning damage, and 1254 to 1287 Holy Bolt, which is pretty good. Serviceable. I mean, it's only going to get stronger. The Holy Shock, I've still got, again, more points, only at 14. The key to the build: you get Thorns. You get all those. You get Sanctuary. And you get Conviction. So Conviction is the key. So when active, Aura reduces the defenses and resistances of nearby enemies. So important for as you level up with online groups. So this, I'll tell you right now, Fist of Heavens is very difficult solo. You have to manage your enemies and your space really well. So, I mean, it's always simple to say don't get hit, but try not to get hit. I mean, you just have to suck it up. But Conviction's great. It doesn't have the radius it used to have. I think it used to have more, so don't worry about it. But it minus 150% to resists of all enemies, and defense resists down as well. So you really can help a team out, especially sorceresses. So helpful. So it really gives a buff to your lightning damage and Holy Bolt damage itself. Whether it gets that much of a buff is it's magic damage. I don't think magic's affected by Conviction, so I don't think it does get a bonus, but it's such a positive thing against undead. So you'll see that the Holy Bolt does lots of the killing when you get down to it. When you get the compatible groups. All right, so now the gear. I have just resists on a couple items. I have a Spirit on the sword. Now this isn't the best sword, because it's only a level, it's a crystal sword, so it's only a normal rank weapon. It's not elite or anything. It's just a normal weapon, 4 sockets. I rolled the 32 faster cast rate, which, the maximum is 35, I think, so that's okay, something special. 22 to vitality. The 108 to mana is the key. I think one of the big problems with the build is early on you'll have no mana. So my base value is 148. So that's because I did put a couple points into energy to get it up to 30. And I got a couple items that boost it. Mostly you'll be shooting so much into vitality because you don't want to die. Strength, of course. Dexterity, I didn't worry too much about the shield blocking. Although maybe I could have put more attention on that. But Spirit, so Talthal, Ort, Am, they're all low level. See, the maximum level is 25, so that's Thol. I think Thol is 25. Let me have a look. Thol is here. Yeah, Thol is 23, so that's the highest there, but when you put them together, it becomes 25. Am, what's level Am? Yeah, Am's 25. Okay, that's it. So you'll be able to find these quite easy, I would say, as you play through the game, depending on if you play with a group and then everyone else grabs them before you. So you can do, you know, your Black Marsh Tower Lady. You can just farm her, or you can, you know, just play through Arcane Sanctuary and all sorts of places. Rush's Tomb, just killing lots of enemies gets you more chance for runes to drop. Oh, I'll leave that there. So I've got the Spirit there. The $2 skills is just that's Gucci. I have a skin in the flayed one. It's not very good. It just gives me a replenished life. Really, that's... I mean, the attacker takes damage is fine, but... Yeah, I haven't got good armor, and that seems to be a trend in all my builds. The armor that I want to get is the one where you teleport, so anything other than that is complete garbage in my mind, so I just like... I don't sweat the armor too much, unless I'm getting absolutely wrecked. I got the Alt Soul, Old Reliable. Soul is the only one that it's not as common, so I've only got, say, 4 there, because I use a lot of them. But it can drop. Keep an eye out for it. Once you get a soul, you can just slap it on. So it's only required level 27, but sometimes it depends what helmet you're using. I've got a crappy skill amulet. So this is where you got... I mean, you have so much choice. This is the good thing about this build, is you can do a whole bunch of different stuff and still get effectiveness out of it, just because Conviction Aura is so helpful. So you're playing with other people, you have Conviction Aura, people go, thanks. So there's not a lot of pressure on you. Unless you're on your own, then there's a huge amount of pressure. So the Paladin skill level, I want to get a much better caster amulet, but I got to get to level 84 or 91 or something ridiculous before you start casting and make crafting proper amulets. See if you can get jewel plus, I can't remember which one it is, and then an amulet. Again, amulets are fine, that's not a big deal. I do have an alternate, which was I was going to do the fire res. My fire res is pretty poor in hell, so that's kind of the other option. I managed to get this just normal Heraldric Shield, and its defense is garbage. So you can see this isn't an optimized build. So, but the point is the resists. So this came with an intrinsic 29% all res, and so plus is the resist up. So I get 64% cold, 64% lightning, 64% poison, 29% fire. So fire is where I'm weak. And again, I've got the fire amulet if I really need to chuck it on for, say, Traffical and Hell. I mean, you just have to for Durance of Hate. That bit's a bit annoying. So the $2 skills, only 29% faster cast rate. So I haven't got the double 35-35, and then a couple of rings pushing it past. So 10%, and I really need another 10%. I haven't hit the break point. So if you don't know what that is, it just means you can cast significantly quicker. You get this... I'll show you how quick I cast. That would probably be a good way to show you. But with all of the positive skill stuff, having Fist of the Heavens at 26, I can get higher because I haven't got any skill or charms. That'd be bloody helpful. So that's the big positive here, is that the Holy Bolt is where you get most of your kills with Holy Bolt. So again, you're focusing on enemies that... Oh, I already ran around here a bit, so maybe there aren't any monsters. Come on, where's one? There's one, okay. So you want Conviction to proc on them, which can take a second, so you do have to be aware of that. And then you're just hitting the targets. So that's how fast I can cast. Now it is limited because when you actually hit an enemy, it does have a reset time. So I think you could, argue that maybe they should get rid of that. But then would it be fair? What does it matter? Your cast rate's so hard, fast anyway. My boots, just some lightning res and some magic fine. Nothing. No, they're not good at all. So much of this stuff I can replace and get much higher defense. All res 6 and the 10% faster cast rate. I think that's okay, but again, you can get higher res stuff. The belt's good. Hit recovery, life, strength, fire res, poison res. If that wasn't poison res and instead was cold res, I'd be happier. And just another fire res there. So lots of my stuff is actually, you know, garbage. And if you've played the game a long time, you'll know, oh, yeah. But I found this 4-socketed heraldic shield, so that's why I chucked it on there, because I just couldn't be bothered wasting the Lazar sockets on it. So the limitations. I can show you the limitations right here. So because you target a single enemy, if they're not demons or undead around there, then you take a long time. So here's a good. So this is where I'm relying. Okay, let's get out of there. So yeah, that's the limitation. Let me buy back the poor. I'll talk about the mercenary now. So my limitation, I'm trying to counter it with the mercenary. So I've chucked the Relatiatal Soul Insight. Again, the hardest one to find here is Soul. Everything else is fine. Getting a 4-socket bow is not a big deal, especially in Nightmare. So yeah, well, you only get 4 sockets in Nightmare. But again, you know all that already. Only rolled a level 12 meditation, which really disappoints me because it can roll between 12 and 17. I would have loved a 15 or a 16. But that said, my mana is pretty damn good. I got a heap of it. So I'll go somewhere where there's demons. Yeah, let's go. Here came as Jai. So my mercenary, she is really good. So I didn't rate the Act 1 mercenary. Ooh, that hurt. But now I have seen the light. Let's get into a friggin' tomb, because this is just... See how she has frozen arrow, and what's it called? Frozen arrow. She has freezing arrow and cold arrow. So she can freeze enemies in place. And I've had her, we've been in Act 5 of Nightmare, surrounded by the Minotaurs, the Doom Lord dudes. They're right on her face, and she freezes them in a half a meter away, and just stands there and just stares them down. So freezing arrow with conviction, even more effective. Oh, I should check that one. The range is really good, that you actually do target the enemies. So yeah, back to her. On her armor, I've just chucked resistance. So I chucked a rail and an ord, and I chucked a couple jewels, and one of them had fire res on it, and a dexterity attack rating. That doesn't matter. So she's got good res. Her defense is good, 1,310. I mean, it could be a hell of a lot better. I mean, think about the armor. If I get a 4-socket something ethereal that's 700 or 1,000 defense, she'd be a lot better. Now, this is the Ort Soul I started with. I did make this before I had a higher level one drop, so I just chucked it on her, and she gets some lightning res, and she gets all the skills. So yeah, why not? She's level 74. I'm level 75. The leveling experience has been really good. So this is something that surprised me, which is just playing with groups, doing BAAL runs. Was really, really, really easy. Good times, because you just absolutely wreck as a group. If there's a sorceress in the group, I played with Necros. You're just really, really effective, and it's you're such a helpful member of the team. Everyone loves you, and they don't say it, but they all do. They all love you. They all love conviction. I mean, it's so much better than freaking the resist curse, the curse that Necro has. And you just you can farm this dude pretty damn easy too. Pindle's good. fine. Everyone wants to talk to me. Run! Yeah. Again, these enemies kind of can be challenging. Because when you're surrounded by enemies that aren't demon or undead, you do have to single target. But then you see the holy bolt spread out and start killing demons and things. My recommendation is focus on the boss first if you can, and then take out the weaker enemies. And that's kind of why I've gone with the Aquan Mercenary over an Aura assist. Is just to freeze packs of enemies that I can't, that aren't affected, that aren't affected by Holy Bolt. So in this situation here, see how it takes longer to shoot, even though it's before with no target. It seems like it's fast, but it's just. Oh, I got that. Oh, luckily, those little dudes. See the little boys there, little kids. They're little demons. And you can target the ghosts, although they shoot lightning, so you're not doing as much damage. So there are situations where, because your Holy Bolt's so powerful, you're better off just spamming Holy Bolt. It just as long as you're targeting, enemies that are affected by it. Like these guys aren't, so. Oh, they are demons. What? Why were they affected before? So these are greater health spawns. They're just not getting wrecked by it, that's all. Okay. One of the things you can do against bosses, all the bosses are demons, so that's really helpful. I'd say that's probably the best part about this build, is that you do, affect the bosses. You just got to keep an eye on the enemies as always. What's that touch? 11, garbage. You're always on the lookout for a 30 or more, preferably 30. You might do a 29 if you're forced to. All res Paladin only shield. So a Taj or what's it called? So or Heraldric or Aryan. Whatever one you can get, just try and get one, and then you shove your bloody spirit on there, and you get yourself some good resistance. Or you can do the 3 socket one. You get more resistance, but you don't have the skills. So again, this is okay. That's enough. I don't need to do too much battling to show you that it's effective. This is in Nightmare, and in Hell is effective as well because you have Conviction Aura. Conviction Aura. What's that one? Run, walk. Now I'll go through the charms. I've just got Poison Res, some life, Poison Res, Fire Res, Hit Recovery, Cold Res 29, 17 Poison Res, Cold Res 11, Fire Res 7. So, yeah, they're not very good. So the things to improve, not cold skills, combat skills, or offensive, or combat or offensive. Offensive will give you the conviction, plus you get the bonus to Holy Shock, so that's positive. So those what I'll be on the look out for. Skilling Grand Charms, which I have none. So again, this is budget. This is as budget gets.
The ancient afternoon.
Let me just prepare. This is as budget gets. You've got, whatever unique armor you got your spirit, or soul, and just bunch of res, and trying to get some more cast rate, although you're limited anyway, so by the nature of the skill. I think that's pretty much sums it up. As you play through, some of the best things to do is just BAAL runs. Yeah, you're really good in BAAL runs, because a lot of the in the Throne of Destruction, when BAAL summons the groups, they're all affected by Fist of the Heavens. They're all weaker to your Holy Bolts, so you can do massive damage. And with Conviction, you're such a helpful teammate. Although, again, depending on who you're playing with. Like, if you're playing with the Barbarian, you're reducing the defense, so that helps. But it's kind of it's just that you are your greatest weakness is playing in cows. If you're with a group, you're great. On your own, you're garbage. You are literal garbage. That's kind of the sad thing. But, it is what it is. You have to have limitations. Although, there's so many demons in the game that because it's freaking Diablo. So you're all good there. As you're leveling up, one of the things you should do is probably just, keep it simple. I rotated between, the Holy Freeze. Well, it's actually a Holy Freeze, it's nice, but, chuck Thorns on, chuck Might on, just to help everyone else. I'd use Zeal. I don't like... Zeal's getting a bit... Yeah. You just play normally until you get to level 30, so it's kind of it's a bit of a grind. And that's the hardest part about this build, really, is just that you grind your way to 30. Maybe you do a different build. Maybe you'd run a Holy Fire until you get to 30 and then respec. I mean, why not? I mean, I was running bloody Sanctuary build and got to 27 and then respec. Because I was trying to do... Because this character's a anti-undead character. Oh, my defense is so garbage. So don't look at that. It's disgusting. Okay. Even then it's garbage. If you're hesitant about doing a Fist of the Heavens, just play with other people online and you'll have a fine time. You'll be right. You'll get strong, you get to hell, and when you get to hell and you're actually effective in hell, it's actually so nice. So I'll just put Mechron in hell. Now I'm only in Act 2. I'm only level 75, so it's not crazy. But that said, getting to level 75 is pretty bloody good. So let's go. Now see the foul crows, I've got to hit one at a time. So that can be a bit annoying. But this is hell. I mean, it's only Act 1. But for some characters, Act 1 in hell is a big challenge, so...
I can't carry it.
And you got great range. You can target a lot of enemies. I'm playing on the console. It's so easy on the console because it auto targets, and again it does that on PC, but it's nice. But that said, you still have to be careful in areas where there's lots of enemies that aren't demons. So that's just the reality of the build. So one of the areas we went through the maggot lair on Act 2 in hell, and I stood there. I was first in line, pushing through, and just standing there going spamming Feast of Heavens, and had the Barbarian on my shoulder. So I was using my Holy Shield. I was just blocking and just face tanking, and having the cold Act 1 Mercenary have her shoot and freeze all the enemies in front of me. So lots of the times I wasn't getting hit. She was just freezing them, and then I was just casting. Barbarian was right on my shoulder, smashing them with the weapons, and we slowly grind our way through. Yeah, so that's one of the areas with the beetles. It's, quite a challenge because they're lightning resist, but because I have, conviction, even though they're in hell, break all their immunities, work your way through. Just be aware that, lightning resist enemies, and if they're not a demon or undead, they can be annoying, but you still do good damage. So that's kind of where you have options. You can focus more on the Holy Shock or the Holy Bolt. I mean, you should naturally get the Fist of the Heavens up, or you can focus more on conviction, so you can help the team. So you have plenty of options. There's better gear going. I know that there's a whole bunch more stuff. So just all you're really looking for is your perfect socketed armor. That's awesome, and then you just chuck your awesome rare runes that I never get. We'll get soon, so I can teleport. But yeah, really easy build once you get going. So I really highly recommend, the FOHD Fist of Heavens. Din. So yeah, FOHD. So I might just write Fist of Heavens in the title, because it's... Some people might not know what that means. I'm sure they do, but you never know. Alright then. Thank you for watching this build guide by Frosted Fire 10. Yeah, so I hope you give it a go. If you never gave Fist of Heavens a go, it's a good option. I mean, it's not a Zealing freaking Paladin, so it's something different. You just stand there and you hold your Fist of Heavens, just spam it. It's good. Once you get your mana, which again, you get 100 mana from the spirits. You get 100 mana, 96 from there, 108 there, and then suddenly, with the insight meditation, you just got heaps of mana and you have no trouble. Yeah. Act 1 Mercenary slaps. She's really good. Surprised the hell out of me. Mr. Llama SC recommended the Act 1 Mercenary and said that the freezing arrow on it was really effective, so I do want to give a shout out and say that was... I was a bit skeptical. You know, I watched plenty of his stuff, but I just tried it and like pleasantly surprised. So thanks for that, Mr. Llama. That was pretty damn good. Alright, oh. Looks cool. Alright then, see ya. No, I'll leave it there. Bye-bye.